Left on the clock here in the first period. 3-0 Jackrabbit lead as we currently sit. A lot of troubles on offense early for the Jackrabbits. Villanova's defense has not come to play around here. Their offense, on the flip side, has also been struggling a little bit. Hoping to find something here are the Wildcats as they set up on their own 20-yard line after the touchback. Watkins, the field general, standing between his two backs at about the 15-yard line. He takes the snap and he'll hand it off to Jackson, going up the right side. A minimal gain of about 1 yard, 2nd down and 9. Colby Herter getting in there from the secondary, making the stop on that one.
Great stop by the Jackrabbits defense there. It's going to leave them with a minimal gain. 2nd down, as we've seen Villanova struggling to gain yards throughout this first period.
Under 3.5 minutes left to go in this first frame on the far sideline. Bunch of paper blowing on the field now. Not going to stop anything. Shotgun snap to Baxter Hill, runs straight up the middle on the far hash mark and dive forward. Jason Freeman, the stop on that, as even players on the field trying to pick up some of the papers that are flying, and I would guess they're from the Villanova sideline.
I think one of the Villanova coaches just lost a playbook out there.
So 3rd down and 4. The crowd comes to volume here at the Dana J. The ball spotted on the 26-yard line of the Wildcats. 2 receivers to the wide side left, 1 to the short side right. Standing on the far hash mark is Baxter. He'll turn and hand it off to Jackson. Fighting for a couple extra yards. The Jackrabbit defense gets the stop short of the 1st down again. And another 4th down for Villanova.
Huge credit there for the Jackrabbits defensive line. Doing great today against the run plays from Villanova through the center, through the 1 and the 2 gaps. Huge stop there. 4th down for Villanova, and we're going to see him punt again.
And through the many offensive snaps we've seen, the quarterbacks, Mark Gronowski and Connor Watkins combined, are now 1 of 7. Obviously, both run-first teams really leaning into that running style with the outside factors here today. $1:50 on the clock. Back to punt is Fondacaro. Once again, a high, wobbly, kind of spiraling punt. Going to hit on the plus side of the 30-yard line of the Jackrabbits and bounce out of bounds. They will mark it right at the 35, and that's where they will start once again. So 1:39 on the clock, 3-0 lead for the Jackrabbits. That's all the offense we've really had. Well, I should say offensive points we've had. We've had a little bit of offense, but still nothing to speak of. The leading rusher in the game is Jalen Jackson of Villanova, 4 carries for 24 yards, and Isaiah Davis, 5 carries for 12 yards. They're getting in on it a little bit, and that's really the only way you're going to move the ball. And if the defense is stopping the run, you're kind of out of luck there, so you really need to establish this run as Gronowski will turn and hand it off to Davis. Gets hit right at the 38. They'll move it ahead, actually mark it around the 37.
Isaiah Davis certainly getting his work in today. I'm sure they give him the ball maybe 2 out of the 4 downs that they get there on a drive. And he's certainly sometimes breaking away, but he has to break a couple tackles every time.
The Jacks are averaging about 230 yards per game on the ground, 2nd in the Missouri Valley, 5th in the country as a whole. Turning around and handing off to Davis again, trying to get the end around, running straight on the line of scrimmage. Behind the line of scrimmage, the original line of scrimmage. So that'll back them up, a loss on that one, and it's back to 10 yards to go, this time on 3rd down. as we tick down to 40 seconds left to play in this first frame. So far, an ugly game on offense for both teams.
Yeah, I don't like the dependability on the run game here from the Jackrabbits, running on second down again. I think they could have tried to pass again, but neither team has really established a passing game and haven't been successful in that effort either.
4 total receivers for the Jackrabbits now. Setting up on the far hash mark. He'll get it out to Davis, running up the near sideline past the 50, and he'll finally angle it out of bounds past the 45 of the Wildcats. They're into enemy territory here, just a couple of yards into it, set up at the 48-yard line. A first down and 10 for the Jackrabbits, and finally a big gain here with 10 seconds left to go in the first.
Yeah, great call there by Zach Lujan, the offensive coordinator and QB's coach for the Jackrabbits. You know, the passing game, maybe the deep ball isn't working, the wind's affecting that. Do a shovel pass, do a pitch outside. That can get your passing game moving, that can get the ball moving, and you're going to break away with more yards there.
So that'll move us to the end of the first quarter. 3-0 is the score. South Dakota State up over Villanova. We give you the next 15 minutes when we come back. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7. Be back in 1 minute.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Heading into the second quarter, 3-0 South Dakota State up over Villanova. And not much going in terms of offense here in the first frame. Only 5 first downs combined between the two teams. Looking at total offense, 14 plays of total offense for only 36 yards for SDSU, and Villanova has the edge by just 4 yards, 13 plays for 40 yards for them. And the biggest contributors so far have been the running folk. Isaiah Davis, 7 carries for 12 net yards, and Jalen Jackson on Villanova's side, 4 carries for 24 yards.
Yeah, not great when you look at the stats here for passing. I mean, Villanova's tried to pass the ball 3 times. None of those have been completions. And then SDSU's tried to pass 5 times. One of those was for a loss of 5 yards earlier on in this game, and the second pass we just saw with Isaiah Davis breaking away. So passing game not going well for either team. Possession time pretty even across the board, around 7.5 minutes for both teams.
So again, the storyline through one very explosive offense is tamed a little bit here. 442 yards per game for Villanova, and about 230 yards rushing for South Dakota State. They're kind of leaning on that one as the carry goes up to the 39-yard line of Villanova. Sets up a 2nd down and 6 with the ball spotted at the 39 on the near hash.
You know, I'd like to see the coaching staff for the Jackrabbits sprinkle in some fun plays here. I mean, they're going pretty by the book. Run on 1st down, run on 2nd down, pass on 3rd down. You know, I'd like to see some more creative play style here.
Gronowski steps up and communicates with his offensive line. Now he'll clap and turn and hand it off to Amar Johnson, trying to find a little bit of a seam inside. Runs up for a gain of 2 yards. sets up a 2nd down and 4 now. A 3rd down and 4, excuse me. Moving forward to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, again, another situation where I think the Jackrabbits could have passed on 2nd down, because then you're not stuck in this situation on 3rd down where you're trying to decide what to do, especially when now the Jackrabbits have switched directions, now facing the wind, so it's going to be harder for them to pass in this situation now.
Bunch receivers had Jaden Yonke, Jackson Yonke, and Griffin Wilde all to the near side. Now Wilde motions out to the far wide side. The pass going to be batted in the air, almost picked up by the Villanova defense. Tried to throw it over the defensive line, batted away, gonna fall incomplete, and a 4th down and 5 now for the Jacks. As it looks like there's not a whole lot of hesitation coming from the Jackrabbit side. They're gonna keep the offense out there, as will Villanova with their defense. So a 4th down and 5, 37-yard line. 2 receivers to each side. A motion across from Jaden Yonke going to the right side now. Stepping back, Gronowski, a shotgun, chest high snap. Gonna throw it downfield, complete to about the 15-yard line. Stepping forward, signaling for the 1st down. Jaden Yonke, Devon Marshall in coverage. Couldn't quite bat it away from Yonke. And a 1st down for SDSU and deep into Wildcat territory while we're at it.
That was a crazy risk on 4th down, taking a deep shot across the field. That ball was low, just pulled in by the Jackrabbits receiver there. Devon Marshall had great coverage, but he was just not able to stop the Jackrabbits from succeeding there. So it's going to be... Never mind.
There's going to be a penalty for illegal formation out there. So that's going to pack them all the way up, and they're now going to have to punt it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's too bad.
It was a great throw from Gronowski into the wind, by the way. So they'll back it up in a punt formation out. Dustman to boot it away, and going to hit right at the 14-yard line, bounce into the arms of special teamer Caleb Fransel. And so the ball will be spotted at the 20-yard line as the Wildcats will move from left to right. 3-0, 13-12 left in the 2nd quarter on the clock. We'll step aside for 1 minute. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7.
Hey, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
13-12 on the clock, 3-0 lead for South Dakota State over Villanova here in the quarterfinal round of the FCS playoffs. Glad to have you along with us, Sports Director Braden Byers alongside Ben Anderson here at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. So far, not a whole lot of offense. Saw a big play erased by a mental mistake. I would call it, as it's an illegal formation penalty. A great throw into the wind by Mark Gronowski all the way down to the Villanova 15-yard line, wiped away, and the Jackrabbits having to punt. So now Villanova will set up on their own 17-yard line, and the crowd getting loud here on first down this time by request of the Jackrabbit defense. Moving from left to right as we see it in their all-white uniforms. Villanova's quarterback, Connor Watson, sets up, standing at his own 12. He'll turn and hand it off to Barley, trying to go straight up the middle, gets stopped pretty much at the line of scrimmage. A gain of inches, setting up a second down and 9 or 10.
Yeah, great stop there by Jackrabbits defense, holding Villanova. Villanova not been very successful today on first down. Jackrabbits usually getting a stop there.
One thing to keep in mind now, they are moving with the wind, using it to their advantage potentially here. The explosive offense looks to get something done. 4 receivers in total as Baxter steps back, and he'll just decide to keep it running up the middle. Gets tripped up across the 20-yard line. They'll call him down right there. Ryan Van Marl reaching out his arm, dragging down Watkins. A great stop by the Jackrabbit defense to hopefully keep a gain as minimal as they can. A third down and 7 on their own 20-yard line now, as paper trash still blowing around on the field in different capacities at different times. A whistle coming in there. And I think it's going to be on South Dakota State, a timeout from SDSU. Didn't quite say there, but they take a timeout. 11:59, just under 12 minutes left to go in this first half. Not a lot of scoring so far. 3-0 is the score. The Hunter Dustman kick from 42 yards out, with the wind helping him a little bit. The wind at his back on the south end zone. Really got to commend the students that did show up, because that wind is blowing straight on into that student section. And the pride of the Dakotas, as always, some of the cheeriest bunch you'll ever see at a Jackrabbit football game. Third down and 7 now. 4 receivers once again for Villanova. Standing at the 15 is Baxter. Now Barley will move from the left side to the right side. Lifts his leg, does Baxter. A short snap down the middle of the field. Knocked away. Tucker Large bats it down. Gonna fall incomplete. A 4th down and 7 now, as the offense and defense will switch out for the respective teams' punt units. And once again, we'll have another special teams play.
Yeah, it's just a game dominated by special teams now. I mean, I think the special teams has been out there more than the offense probably. I mean, we got the only points on the board being that 3-point field goal from the Jackrabbits, and then just continuous punts back and forth, both sides. Not much getting done on offense here. But great things to say about Jackrabbit defense so far, able to get a lot of stops on the Wildcats.
Well, Fondacaro back out there again, the senior from Sewell, New Jersey, averaging about 43 yards per punt. Tucker Large back there, getting ready, averaging about 16 yards per return. A straight spiral by Fondacaro, bounces at the 40, back to the 30, bouncing all the way. Large is just going to let it roll past, clapping his hands as he goes off the field, knowing he should have tried to pick it up as it rolls inside the 10-yard line, and the Jacks are going to be backed up here as they come back out on offense once again. 3-0 the score, 11:39 exactly on the clock left in the first half. We'll step aside for a minute and a half. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
11:39 left on the clock in the first half. 3-0 the Jackrabbits lead it, and they're backed up on their own 9-yard line. Gronowski in the shotgun will take the snap and turn around and hand it off to Isaiah Davis. He's still churning, spinning around. I think I saw him spin around about twice, finding his way for just 1 yard.
Yeah, Jackrabbits trying to get a little more space there, backed up to their own end zone here after that. The best punt we've seen all day there by Villanova. And now, off that first down, you're not feeling comfortable. You're still not comfortable. I expect to see another run probably down the middle. Pretty risky to pass right now.
Now in the shotgun, Davis right behind Gronowski. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Now stepping back, a chest high, shotgun snap, going to be thrown the near side numbers to Jackson Yonke, complaining there was no pass interference. So is the crowd. He's not going to get the foul. So he'll walk back to the huddle.
Even if there was pass interference right there, still could have caught that ball. He had both hands right there. Came around a little too quick, I think. Turned around, the ball was right there, wasn't ready for it. Not able to get his hands set there.
And Shane Hartzell was on the coverage, and now we come out with 4 receivers. The ball set up on the near side hash. 2 receivers to the short side, 2 receivers to the far side. Now a motion from Jaden Yonke from the short to wide side. Throwing out there to Yonke, going to be wrapped up at about the 6. A big play coming from the Villanova defense. Ice Waxter, the second team all Colonial Athletic Association pick. Definitely getting looks from NFL scouts. Makes a big play there as we tick under 10.5 minutes left to go in the second quarter. 3-0 still the score, as Dustman is pretty much backed up almost to the edge of his own end zone here, as Rajon Pringle is back to receive it. Now the punt gonna hit just past the 40-yard line, stay pretty much around there. They'll mark it at the 44.
Yeah, I'm sure that one did go as far as Dustman wanted it to. It is difficult. The wind is just affecting the punts a lot this game. They fly straight up in the air. They get caught. The Stanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex is kind of blocking the wind, but once a punt gets up there, it's going to catch the wind, and you can see on that one for sure, they kind of just stopped in the air and then fell down pretty short. So Villanova has great field position. Let's see what they do with it.
The scoreboard encouraging the Jackrabbit faithful to make some noise here. 3 receivers off to the left side, which is also the short side. The ball spotted on the far side hash marks. Baxter stepping back, play action, looking downfield. Thought he had a guy complete just a little bit in front of him. Intended for Pringle, Rajon Pringle, who's second in the FCS in yards per reception. The thing is, your QB's got to get it to you in order to rack those up. 9:55 on the clock, stopped now, 3-0, still the score. Villanova still on the Jackrabbit 44. Working on the plus side of the 50, 2 receivers right, 1 left. Now Baxter looking towards the near side. He'll have Pringle turning up on the numbers to the 40. Tackle down to the ground. Nice gain of about 4 yards. 3rd down and 6 now on the Jackrabbit 40.
Yeah, nice screen pass there by Villanova. Had some pretty good blocks in front. Jackrabbit defense able to get around those though, so minimal gain there. 3rd down. Expect to see another pass.
This is when you get the tough games in the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. The weather not helping a little bit. Both teams duking it out right now. Baxter will just keep it around the end. He'll run for the 1st down. Past the 46-yard line, he'll go out of bounds around the 37-yard line.
Yeah, so there's a 1st down for Villanova, and they weren't really moving the ball effectively those first 4 downs that they got there, and they do have excellent field position. It would be a shame for them if they were not able to capitalize here. We haven't seen a score in quite a while.
2 receivers wide right. 2 to the left short side. Working on the far side. Baxter stepping up in the pocket, flushed out towards the right. He's got a lot of green. Past the 30, down to the 25, and ushered out of bounds eventually by Dallas Beanham.
He's driven out of bounds by Dallas Beanham.
All right, now it starts to get a little scary. Quarterback feels comfortable to make plays by himself here, especially when there's nothing open downfield. And how the Jackrabbits defensive line has been playing this season on the pass game, not getting a lot of pressure, not even getting a lot of pressure this game, except on those run plays. So the quarterback really has a lot of opportunity to make plays with his legs.
He has 10 rushing touchdowns so far as they'll hand it off straight to Jalen Jackson running on the far seam. Touchdown for Villanova all the way for 6 points.
Yeah, unfortunately for us, Villanova offensive line had some great blocks right there. Opened up a huge gap there for the running back to make it all the way through. And then once you got past our linebackers, there's nothing really in the secondary. So Villanova going to put the first touchdown on the board.
25-yard touchdown run for Jalen Jackson, the running back number 1. The snap coming from Ben Wheelis, the hold from Nathan Fondacaro, and the kick is going to be no good.
Wow.
For Matthew Mercurio.
That was with the wind advantage as well. That one's going to be missed. That one you're going to want back.
So now a field goal can tie it for SDSU, 3-6. We're playing the long game here. 7:54 left in the second quarter. We'll step aside once again for a minute and a half. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Five-play, 44-yard touchdown drive ending in a 25-yard touchdown run from Jalen Jackson. Jackrabbits trail it here 6-3, 7:55 on the clock left in the first half. The mixed extra point puts it at the score of 6-3. They would be up 7-3 had they made it. That definitely could come into play later on in the game, but it's still early here as we head into the back half of the second quarter. Some trouble figuring out how to hold a ball here for a kickoff, and Mercurio boots it away. And for the first time, the Jackrabbit return team, they lose the ball inside near the end zone. It bounced into the end zone. Looked like Goring tried to bring it out. They ended up just in front of their own end zone. The ball did pop out. It looks like they still retain possession as the offense is huddled up, getting ready to go out there.
Yeah, that's a huge special teams mistake. Trying to catch that ball when it's already flying over your head as the back returner. You've got to leave that thing to go into the end zone or go out the back. He touched it, so he had to go back and get it in the end zone. Otherwise, if Villanova was to recover that, that would have been a touchdown. And so he had to try to run that out of the end zone. Otherwise, it would have been a safety.
Yeah, see, that's exactly the point. I didn't see for sure if he touched it. Evidently, he did. Tried to bring it out of the end zone and get stopped right at his own 3-yard line. So backed up, Gronowski will take it, hand it off to Davis, really close to the end zone. It'll get stopped at the 2-yard line. So about a loss of 1. Shane Hartzell getting in there, the exceptional linebacker for Villanova, tied with the team's lead in tackles coming into this game with 82, tied with the other linebacker, Brendan Bell. Villanova's defense kind of runs an odd sort of formation on defense. They run a 3-3-5, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, true linebackers, and about 5 in the secondary. Now a handoff going to be to Isaiah Davis working on the near side hash mark. He keeps getting pushed. A whole rugby scrum going on the near side numbers. They'll finally blow him dead with the forward progress. Just about shy of the 10-yard line. They'll mark him at about the 8 is where he will be. Still not close enough for a first down, but the effort is definitely there.
Yeah, good job by Isaiah Davis. Just being strong there, pushing through. That was a dangerous situation, especially with that first down play. Nearly a safety, a little momentum off from a safety. Isaiah Davis there on second down, able to push forward and give the Jackrabbits a little more room.
About 5 yards to go for first down. That room you're talking about now stepping back. Gronowski's going to air it out to the near sideline. Jaden Yonke can't quite come down with it. On the defense, going to be Devin Marshall on the near sideline. No laundry on the field. The Jackrabbit punt team will come out once again as that sets up a 4th down and 5. So the ball currently on their own 8. That means the punt will again have to come out of their own end zone. And the offense is really stalled here in the first half so far for the Jackrabbits, having only gotten on the board once by way of Hunter Dustman's leg. And the punt gonna hightail it towards the far sideline, and it's gonna stop rolling at about the 41.
Yeah, similar field position to when Villanova just scored that touchdown. So we're going to have that situation once again, putting a lot of stress and a lot of responsibility on the Jackrabbits defense to make a stop here since the offense is not performing.
It's what I like to call a vicious cycle. You get backed up, you can't get anything going on offense, you punt it. It's not going to be a long punt. They get good field position, and then again, it just keeps going over and over again. 3-6, the Jackrabbits trail it just a second, over 6 minutes left in this first half. Starting at their 41, an absolutely huge series here as Villanova can go up by potentially 2 possessions. Jackson moving to the left side of Baxter, who will turn and hand it off. He'll cut back on the far hash marks, fighting his way up to the 35-yard line before finally being corralled down by the defense. About a 6 to 7 yard gain. The way the change is set up, it looks like a second and about 3 to go. Ball spotted on the 35, so a 7 yard gain for him. Trips out towards the wide right side. A single receiver to the left. Watkins stepping up, down the seam again, batted away by Large. A Villanova receiver almost dove in there and caught it while falling down. An excellent deflection. It was intended originally for Pringle. Large knocked it away, and then Jaron Hayek, who we haven't said his name much, if at all, today, dove for it, couldn't come up with it. It could have been a dangerous set of circumstances for the Jackrabbits. Villanova now sets up 3rd and 3 now on the 35.
Huge third down here. Excuse me. Huge third down here for Jackrabbits defense.
2 receivers right, 1 left, 1 back in the backfield, an extra blocker on the line. Flag coming from the secondary. It looks like it's going to be a delay of game.
That's a huge penalty.
So the officials will mark it off, setting it back to the 39 now. A 3rd down and longer to go. Setting up a 3rd and 8.
Jackrabbits defense here has to be ready for anything. We've seen Connor Watkins, the quarterback for Villanova, able to use his legs to get big yards, and we also have to protect the pass here. The Jackrabbits secondary usually pretty good.
And it looks like they're keeping with that same formation, 3 receivers in total. Watkins stepping back. He'll stay in the pocket. It's going to be wrapped up for a sack. Going to be Quentin Hicks getting into the backfield. An excellent stop for the Jackrabbit defense.
What a play. We've been asking for it all season. Where's the defensive line on pass pressure? Where is it? There it is. Quentin Hicks proves that he and the rest of the defensive line can make a stop on a pass play.
So the punt team out once again for Villanova. Going to punt it away after the big stop for SDSU. Fondacaro, it's going to be blocked. The punt running back on the far numbers, down to the 10, 5, touchdown. Jackrabbits on the special teams block.
Unbelievable. It happens on special teams. The whole game special teams. We're always on special teams. Huge recovery by the Jackrabbits special teams, number 23. He's going to get a touchdown for the Jackrabbits, the first of the game. Jackrabbits are finally going to lead Villanova.
Matthew Durant's on the block and the return. A touchdown for SDSU, an extra point upcoming. 4 minutes, 23 seconds left in the first half. The huge play the Jacks needed. It bounces right into his arms. He runs it in for the touchdown, and the extra point attempt coming from Hunter Dustman. Olivia snap, Bell hold, and the kick from Dustman is good. 10-6, the Jackrabbits lead it here for the second time today after Villanova retook took the lead for the first time after their touchdown. The Jacks answer back here. 4 minutes, 23 seconds left in the first half. We step aside once again, be back in a minute and a half on KSDJ.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
10
And my
to
brain
6,
is
the Jackrabbits
saying,
lead
when it's
it
time
here.
to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that
Olivia
guy.
Snap.
Me too.
Know your buzzed
Olivia
warning signs?
snap,
Call for a
bell
ride when it's
hold,
time to go home.
and the kick
Buzz
from
driving
Dustman
is
is
drunk
good.
driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Just texting him back. I'm
10
just posting a
to
story.
6,
Just
the
changing
Jackrabbits
song.
lead it
I'm
here.
just
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just
Fondacaro,
don't.
it's going to be blocked.
Sending a text
Fondacaro.
takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
A huge play coming from the Jackrabbit special teams. Matthew Durant's blocking the punt, running it back for the touchdown. The Jackrabbits lead it 10-6 here at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. The crowd, not that it ever died, has a new life. The team itself has a new life as Dustman is getting ready to kick it away to the Wildcats. Back to return for Villanova is going to be TD Ioderjaye and Jalen Sanchez. And the kick going to be fair caught at the 14-yard line for Villanova.
So now we put Villanova in a situation where they're going to have to play from behind. So we'll see if their offense can make something happen when they have a little worse field position.
They'll set it up at the 25 now. 4 minutes, 23 seconds. And the whole entire game has been flipped in terms of momentum. Now, Watkins is going to keep it himself, running up the middle for a first down. Adam Bach corrals him down as we tick down to 4:10, 10-6. South Dakota State up over Villanova as we speak.
Big run there by Connor Watkins, quarterback for Villanova. He's just been excellent at running throughout this game. Hard to contain.
3 receivers bunched to the right side on the numbers. Watkins going to take the snap and he'll hand it off to Barley, trying to get the end around on the left side. Will get stopped right at the 40-yard line. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6 coming up on their own 40-yard line. The defense trying to come up huge here once again. A huge sack from Quentin Hicks on the last defensive stand for the Jackrabbits, forced that punt that was eventually blocked and returned for a touchdown by Matthew Durant. Watkins takes the snap, and this time he'll keep it and he'll throw it across the middle. Good defense there. Tucker Large wraps up Pringle, not letting him keep possession of the ball. Going to be a stop on 2nd down, brings up a 3rd down and 6. still on their own 40-yard line.
Huge hit by Tucker Large on Pringle there. Knocks the ball right out of his hands. Since he didn't make any football moves, that's not going to be a fumble. It's going to be an incomplete pass. So we're going to set the Villanova Wildcats back. It's 3rd down now.
Again, running that familiar 4-receiver set. Still with Barley to the left side of Watkins. The snap is going to be low and on the ground, picked up by Watkins. He'll throw it down the field, open to Pringle at the 35-yard line, flipping the field into Jackrabbit territory. Excellent execution on that one, even though the snap was botched a little bit. Baxter keeping his eyes downfield. Pringle kept running a route, and they get rewarded for it. Now they'll set up in Jackrabbit territory on the 35-yard line.
Yeah, there's about 4 Jackrabbit secondary members in the vicinity there, but not close enough. Pringle able to haul that one in.
3 receivers bunched to the right side, and now a little bit of a wide receiver screen throw out into the flat. I thought the ball might have bounced before it went into the arms of Pringle. It did indeed. So it's going to be an incomplete pass, 2nd down and 10 with 2 minutes, 32 seconds left in the second quarter.
Yeah, so Villanova here going to have to try to put some points on the board, even if it's just a field goal. Have to stay in this one.
And that's how you know when the crowd's into it, when they're groaning about adding 2 seconds to the first half. I'm not going to say it doesn't make a difference, because it definitely can, but it definitely is a small change. So now 2:34 after the 2-second addition. Watkins in shotgun, and he'll turn and hand it off to Barley. Gets wrapped up at the 30. Gain of 5. Sets up a 2nd down and 5. Set up at that 30-yard line. They'll actually mark it closer to the 29. So a gain of 6 on that one, a 3rd down and 4, with the clock ticking down to 2:06, 2:05. Get no 2-minute warning in college, so we'll play straight through it. Shotgun with 2 backs to either side. Now he'll throw it out in the flat on the left side. Out to the numbers, gets hit. Thought the ball almost came out. It might have almost came out. It didn't come out, however. Hayek gets hit by Franzel on the outside. A 4th down and 3 yards to go now for Villanova. And here we are again, another huge play coming up for this Jackrabbit defense. $1:30 on the clock. Setting up now 3 receivers to the left, just a single receiver to the right. Watkins stepping back and looking towards his sideline, as does all of his teammates. Now he moves up, communicates the play call to the offensive line. Play clock at 3, 2, 1, and they're forced to call a timeout. The Jackrabbit crowd doing exactly what their job is, disrupting the flow of the Wildcat offense. $1:10 left on the clock, 10-6. And we'll again play that huge down after the Villanova timeout. So Ben, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, if Villanova is able to get a 1st down here, they have plenty of time. Minute 10, that's plenty of time to go in there, score a touchdown. But we've seen them struggle on offense, especially with time management, as we just saw. So, I mean, with all of their run dependability, the Jackrabbit defense might actually, if they get this 1st down, have an opportunity to make a stop just based on time. Also, if they're not able to make this stop here, the Jackrabbits will have plenty of time to go the other way, kick a field goal, or score a touchdown, depending on how much momentum we carry.
So once again, a couple of housekeeping items for you. It's 4th down and 3 yards to go for the 1st down. A minute 10, 10-6, the Jackrabbits lead it, and they'll elect to go for a field goal here instead.
Well, the wind is on their side right now. But with that missed extra point earlier, I don't know how much faith they're going to have here.
The snap from Ben Wheelis, the hold from Nathan Fondacaro, the kick from Matthew Mercurio is good. 10-9, we have a 1-point game with a minute and 6 seconds left on the clock. And South Dakota State set to receive the kickoff. That play about 8 plays, that drive, about 8 plays, 47 yards. And Matthew Mercurio, the 6th-year player from Salinas, California, knocks it through from 46 yards out.
Yeah, an excellent kick there, supported by the wind. Just able to pick Villanova up a little bit and make this a closer game.
The career-long field goal for Mercurio, and he's right back out there, getting ready to kick it away with 66 seconds left in the first half. Another holder out there for the kickoff unit. And the kick will go out of the end zone over the head of one Griffin Wilde. And the Jackrabbits will get an extra boost to start things off at the 25-yard line as the offense gets ready to come out here for a decently big drive to keep the momentum on their side heading into the halftime locker room.
This is going to be interesting because the Jackrabbits for most of this game have been very run dependent, run like first, second, third down even. So we're going to see the pass game develop here with a minute and 6 seconds.
4 receivers in total. Gronowski stepping back. He looked to the near side. Now he'll just run it up the gut, out to the outside numbers, 40-yard line, diving forward, taking a hit that I'm sure not too many of the coaches are happy about. But Gronowski gets up right away. He's got some blood pumping through his veins right now, and you can tell it. Under a minute left to go in the first half now, having to go a decent length of the field. He runs right into the defensive line on the right side. Going to be dropped for a loss of about 1 yard, and the clock keeps on ticking down to 40 seconds left in the first half.
Strange that they didn't call a timeout there.
10-9 the score here. Now a 2nd down and 12 on the 38. Now he'll hand it off to Davis. He outruns a defender on the near sideline. He turned it upfield. He fights forward to the 42-yard line, so a gain of 4, but that sets up only about a 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 9 situation. Down to 9 seconds on the clock, and they might try a home run ball here. Gronowski stepping back. He'll dump it off to Davis, who gets hit from the backside. He'll fall down. The clock will run out, and we go. I thought I saw a penalty flag in there. Looks like they'll just pick it up, and they'll go to the halftime locker room, up 10-9. Well, it's halftime, so we'll go ahead and step away for 3 minutes. Coming up here, when we come back, we'll take a look at the first half scoring, and we'll also take a look at some stats and what's coming up in FCS football later on today. Once again, we'll be back here in 3 minutes on 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Fondacaro, it's going to be blocked. The punt running back on the far.
Unbelievable. It happens on special teams. The whole game special teams. We're always on special teams. Huge recovery by the Jackrabbit special teams, number 23. He's going to get a touchdown for the Jackrabbits, the first of the game. Jackrabbits are finally going to lead Villanova. Unbelievable. It happens on special teams. The whole game special teams. We're always on special teams. Huge recovery by the Jackrabbit special teams, number 23. He's going to get a touchdown for the Jackrabbits, the first of the game. Jackrabbits are finally going to lead Villanova.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my
Matthew
shoes.
Durant.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Welcome back here to Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. 10-9, the score, a 1-point lead for South Dakota State over Villanova. Kind of a wild first half happening here. Not much to speak of on offense, but defense and especially special teams defense making a lot of the difference in this one. 10-9 again is the score. Taking a look at the first half scoring, things got started off with a 42-yard field goal from Hunter Dustman after a 7-play, 6-yard drive, ending with 3:38 left to go in the first quarter. That put us up 3-0. And then Villanova came back and answered back with the drive starting at 7:55 left to go in the second quarter. They drove down 5 plays, 44 yards, taking about 2 minutes and 6 seconds off the clock. That ended in a Jackson rushing touchdown of about 25 yards. But the thing is, Mercurio's kick on the PAT was missed. So that set up Villanova again coming back on offense. And they were driving down. They got stalled. Quentin Hicks came up with an absolutely huge sack to force a punt from Villanova. And that is when this happened. Fondacaro, it's going to be blocked. The punt running back on the far numbers, down to the 10, 5, touchdown. Jackrabbits on the special teams block.
Unbelievable. It happens on special teams. The whole game special teams. We're always on special teams. Huge recovery by the Jackrabbit special teams, number 23. He's going to get a touchdown for the Jackrabbits, the first of the game. Jackrabbits are finally going to lead Villanova.
So Matthew Durance blocks the kick, runs it back for a 45-yard touchdown return off of that blocked punt, putting us up 10-6 after the PAT. After that, the only scoring Matthew Mercurio, knocking in a 46-yard field goal, a career long for him, by the way, making it 10-9. And that's where we sit here at halftime with about 12 and a half minutes left to go in the halftime break. We'll take another 3-minute break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at some of the numbers specifically for both of the teams, and then we'll take a look at the rest of the FCS playoffs. Once again, you're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's
What a play.
Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If I could be you,
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
if you could find a way,
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Only 6 of them. Usually in a game, you got more first downs than you got points on the board. Not the case here for SDSU or Villanova. Villanova with 6, SDSU with a measly 4 first downs. Rushing yards for Villanova, 105. SDSU is sitting at 48. Passing yards for Villanova, 30. SDSU, 16 passing yards. You know, passing's been pretty tough for both of these teams so far. Villanova is 3 for 11 on completions. SDSU is 4 for 10. Total offense, Villanova is sitting at 135 yards. SDSU is sitting at a smaller 64 yards. But let's talk about some of these players that we've seen just do great throughout this game. Rushing-wise for Villanova, Jalen Jackson has 56 rushing yards so far this game. He also is sitting at 1 touchdown, averaging 9.3 yards per carry. And Connor Watkins, the quarterback for Villanova, is sitting at a nice 40 yards rushing, only losing 6 yards during one of those attempts. And he's averaging about 4.9 yards per carry. For the receiving core in Villanova, Pringle is sitting at 8 targets, soaking up a majority of the targets sent to receivers on Villanova. He only has 29 yards receiving, though, and only sitting at about 5 yards after the catch. On the Jackrabbits side, rushing, Isaiah Davis continues to be one of the players that is just dominant in the rushing field. In the backfield for SDSU, he has 30 yards on a carry, and then averaging carry 2 yards. So not a great average for Isaiah Davis. He's been stuffed a couple times by this strong Villanova defense. From the quarterback side of things, Mark Gronowski is rushed for 22 yards throughout this game, and he averages about 5 yards per carry. In the receiving core for the Jackrabbits, it is dominated by Isaiah Davis. He has 2 targets for 24 yards. And the Yankee brothers being a little quiet today. Jaden Yankee only being targeted 4 times, but has negative yards so far receiving. Jackson Yankee being targeted 3 times, not being able to bring in any of those targets. Matthew Durrance, a great guy on special teams. He's going to have 55 yards on that return for the touchdown, which gave the Jackrabbits the lead. And then on defense for the Jackrabbits, Quinn Hicks with that amazing sack that led to that blocked punt and that return for touchdown. Something else I want to bring up, 3rd down conversions for both of these teams, very low. Villanova is 2 for 8 on 3rd down conversions, and so is SDSU. So something we need to look for in the second half. These teams needing to be able to take advantage of 3rd down and definitely establish a passing game, because that has been a struggle for both these teams so far throughout this game. Possession time is looking very similar. Villanova is sitting at that 16 minutes, and SDSU is at 14 minutes. But it really hasn't mattered so far in this game. It's still a one-score game. Hopefully we get a little more excitement in the second half. There's about 5 minutes left in halftime, so we are going to step away for another 3 minutes, and we will be right back on 90.7 KSDJ after this.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
If I could be you,
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
if you could find a way,
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
To 9 the score here as we get set for the second half. The Jacks will receive in this second game of the FCS quarterfinals. Of course, last night the quarterfinals getting kicked off with Montana and Furman, a 35-28 win for the Grizz in overtime. A 13-yard pass from Clifton McDowell to Keelan White. Later on today, starting at 1:30, got USD versus NDSU on ABC. And tonight on ESPN Plus at 9, UAlbany visiting Idaho. So that's a quick spin around the FCS playoffs as we get set to get things underway once again, and probably hoping both teams are hoping to see a little bit more offense and get back to the way that they usually are, 2 very explosive teams. Is the kick going to be brought down by Wilde on the negative side of the 10-yard line, but he runs his way up to the 29, slides across the 30. They'll actually mark him down at the 28, and that's where the Jackrabbits will start for the first offensive possession of the second half.
Need to see a lot more big things from the Jackrabbits here in the second half. Like to be a little more comfortable in this score. Hopefully Jackrabbits here on this first drive, opening the half, can put some points on the board.
Once again, 10-9. This is an offense that usually averages about 457.2 yards per game, 6th in the country. A quick throw on the far side to Griffin Wilde, going to be pushed out of bounds at the 36. Decent gain on first down, sets up a second down and just 2 yards to go.
Ball is at the 36. Gain of 8.
So 2nd and 2 here, 2 receivers to the wide side right. Gronowski turns around and hands it off to Davis on the outside numbers, pushing his way through, just breaking tackle after tackle, all the way down to the 45-yard line of SDSU, moving the chains here for the first time in the second half, ticking down to 14 minutes left, 10-9 the score. SDSU barely up over Villanova.
Great show of strength there by Isaiah Davis, pushing past a ton of Villanova defenders, able to get the first down and the chains move.
Setting up now, Jaden Yonke to the left, Jackson Yonke to the right. Now Jaden will motion a little bit on the left side, a chest-high shotgun snap to Gronowski, looking downfield. He'll be flushed out to the right, moving to the right still along the 40-yard line. Moves up and he throws it out of bounds before he reached across the line of scrimmage. Incomplete, technically intended for Mike Morgan. It goes out of bounds, 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, you know, a lot of good defense out there in the Villanova secondary, not a lot of open receivers. Gronowski got flushed out of the pocket, forced to scramble, and couldn't get any yards there, so he throws it out of bounds.
Setting up now, 2 receivers on the right. Jaden Yonke and Wilde. Got Jackson Yonke to the left. Now stepping back, Gronowski stays in the pocket. Across to Zach Hines. Caught at the 40. He loses the football. It falls into the arms of Villanova, and that's going to be a turnover. The first really good play from SDSU's offense gets picked up by Villanova. So it's going to be a catch. Zach Hines fumbles it straight into the arms of Jalen Goodman, the free safety for this Wildcat team, and a turnover for the Jackrabbits.
Yeah, first good pass that we get to see out of the Jackrabbits deep, and can't hang on to the ball, loses it. Now Villanova is going to get a chance to lead the game.
So starting off at their own 28. Let's see if the defense can keep the momentum from the first half. A handoff coming off to the left side, going to be stopped after a decent gain on first down. 13-10 on the clock, 10-9 the score. Now set up at the 33-yard line, a 2nd and 5 after the 5-yard gain. 2 receivers right, 1 left, 1 back in the backfield, standing there with Connor Watkins, the field general for this Villanova offense. A high snap brought down, and he'll just go ahead and keep it, trailing his running back. It's going to be forward. He was pointing for a first down, not quite. Going to be a gain of about 2, maybe 1, 3rd down and 4 on their own 34-yard line. 12 and a half minutes ticking down. Not too long has gone by since we started the second half. The crowd that is still left, braving this weather out there, is definitely making a difference so far. Again, 27 degrees out there, and it feels like now 3. It was 5 when we first began this game. 2 receivers right again, 1 to the left. Those 2 receivers are wide to the right. Now Watkins moving all around the pocket. He tried to run it up. He decided it too late. Wrapped up by Quentin Hicks at about the line of scrimmage. 4th down and 4 yards to go on their own 34-yard line, and they will elect to punt it here. So the Jackrabbit defense bails out the Jackrabbit offense. The catch by Zach Hines and a fumble into the arms of the Villanova secondary.
And here we get to see Villanova punt team once again. 2 big mistakes this game, one leading to a Jackrabbit touchdown.
Nathan Fondacaro, the punter, boots it away. Wobbly, almost straight vertical. Bounces on the plus side of the 40 down to the 38 of the Jackrabbits. And a Wildcat and a Jackrabbit getting into it on the near sidelines. Tucker Large, that was getting into it with Ben Wheelis, the long snapper, all the way down, engaging with the returner. 10-9, 11:08, no harm, no foul. Let's do it again. We'll be back here in 1 minute on 90.7.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
11:08 on the clock here in the third quarter. 10-9 the score. South Dakota State still up on top of 8th-seeded Villanova here in the quarterfinals of the football championship subdivision playoffs. The Jackrabbits get another chance on offense after the fumble recovered by the Wildcat defense on the previous offensive engagement. This time they're going 3 receivers out towards the wide left, only one towards the near side shallow, that is Davis. Now he'll go ahead and motion going to the left side of Gronowski. He'll take the snap, acting as lead blocker is Davis, pushing forward for a couple of yards. They'll stop the forward progress at the 42.
Stop was made.
A 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6.
The Jackrabbits can continue to run the ball efficiently like that, grab 4 or 5 yards per play. They can continue to do that for the rest of the game.
Setting up now, receiver to either side. Davis standing a few yards behind Gronowski. He claps. No snap yet as we tick past 10.5 minutes left to go in the third. Still 10-9. Now we'll hand it off to Davis. Engages a defensive lineman right at the 45. A hard hit on the defensive lineman. That sets him up a second and about 3 yards to go. Excuse me, 3rd and 3 yards to go on the Jackrabbit 45 now. Davis so far has been the best part about this Jackrabbit offense, as he most often is. 13 carries for 35 yards so far, not to be outdone by Jalen Jackson, 7 carries for 61. Now Gronowski will hand it off again to Davis, spinning around at the 45, fighting forward for a few extra yards in between the hash marks, right on the tail end of the Jackrabbit logo at midfield. Going to get a gain of about 1, a 4th and 2 coming up on their own 45, and the offense is staying out there.
Good to see the offense going for this. Maybe we see a hard count here and then the punt team comes out. But if they do go for it, props to them.
Could be a great momentum shift. Gronowski going under center, pushed forward by his offensive lineman, had a couple yards to gain. Where the referee is spotted, it looks like he got it, and the motion to move the chains. A first down on the quarterback sneak from one Mark Gronowski sets up a 1st and 10 on the 49-yard line of the Jackrabbits, just shy of midfield. 8 minutes, 40 seconds left in the third. Still 10-9 the score here in Brookings.
Yeah, the Jackrabbits there trying out the old brotherly shove there again. Brought to you by the Philadelphia Eagles.
The snap, play action. Gradowski unloads it on the near sideline. Jackson Yonke just a bit shy. There was a lot of contact. No flag coming out there.
Yeah, that was PI. Yeah, the defender had no way to play the ball there in any sense. Have full contact, wasn't even turned around facing the ball. Full contact with the receiver. That is pass interference.
Ice Waxter on the coverage. The offense asking the fans to calm down. Okay, we get it, but they didn't call it. We need to be able to hear out there. 8:15 on the clock. Gronowski stepping back now, looks to the far side, right on the numbers, caught by Jaden Yonke. Right at the 43. Looks like there's a Wildcat down on the ground. Devin Marshall, who made the tackle on that play, is now in some sort of fetal position, an upright fetal position, on his knees, his face mask into the ground, as both teams go to their respective sides, and we have an injury timeout. 8:09 left in the third. He's now turned around on his backside, laying down with his knees propped up in the air. It's going to be 3rd down and 2. The referee just changed it to a 8 minutes, 14 seconds left, and we'll go ahead and step aside here. We'll be back here in 1 minute. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
The score, 8:14 left in the third quarter. It's 3rd down, and it looks closer to 1 now on the actual chain. It still says 3rd and 2 on the scoreboard. It was a little bit further away, I noticed. And then when we come back, it is closer to the 1st down marker, in my opinion. They did get Devin Marshall off the field. One note to give you, new playoff attendance record set today, 10,216 people packing inside of Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. The 2nd game in a row breaking that playoff attendance record. So still a record-setting season, albeit about 9,000 short of where we usually were in the regular season. Gronowski's going to turn it on and hand it off to Davis, rumbling his way past the 30 and stays on his feet on the near hash mark, fighting forward past the 30. All the way down to the 23 or 24. A little bit of an awkward position here, can't really, and it's going to be the 24 is where they mark it. 7:45 on the clock and counting. A 1st down and 10, a new fresh set of downs for the Jackrabbits.
Great run there by Isaiah Davis. Sets up the Jackrabbits with an opportunity to score.
Receivers to either side, extra blockers towards the left side of the line of scrimmage. Now we'll hand it off to Davis again, jumping over a Villanova Wildcat, rumbling down to the 20-yard line on the far hash mark. Gain of 4 sets up a 2nd down and 6. It's going to be on the Wildcat 20, and another Wildcat is down on the ground. Can't quite make out a number from here. He's laying down on his backside. He does have his left hand wrapped up in a club. So obviously has injured his hand before, probably most likely this season. And he's laying right across the 20-yard line. Now he'll sit up and be helped up and helped off of the field. That's going to be Ty Trin, the 2nd team selection for All Colonial Athletic Association. 44 tackles this year coming into this game. Last week had 3 tackles, 1 solo, and a half tackle for a loss. So he gets helped off. Both teams back out onto the field now as the Jackrabbits set up for that 2nd down and 6 on the Wildcat 20-yard line. The red zone's been good to SDSU so far this year. Let's see if they can capitalize on this one. Play action across the middle, gonna be Jackson Yonke finding his way into the touchdown.
Excellent play by Jackson Yonke. He's been targeted a ton throughout this game. Finally, there, able to haul one of his targets in. I believe that's his first reception of this game, and it's gonna put 6 points on the board for the Jackrabbits.
A 20-yard touchdown pass from Mark Gronowski to Jackson Yonke, straight down the seam in the middle of the hash marks. Broke a tackle, waltzing his way into the end zone. That'll put 6 more on the board, 16-9 as we currently stand. And the point after team coming out there, awaiting a conversation.
Result of the play is a touchdown. And after the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 78 is first.
So after the play, the touchdown does stand. Want to make that clear. After the play, offensive lineman John O'Brien, unsportsmanlike conduct. So that'll back up the point after attempt. The ball will be snapped from the 18-yard line and kicked from the 25. So a 35-yard attempt here for the point after. The snap, the hold, and the kick is perfect. 17-9 is the score. 7 minutes and 1 second left in the third quarter is the time and period. And we will step aside. We'll be back here in 90 seconds. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Back here in Brookings, 7 minutes, 1 second left in the third quarter here. 17-9, the score after the touchdown drive from South Dakota State, totaling 9 plays, 62 yards, taking 4 minutes and 7 seconds off the clock. The point after attempt was good, and Dustman kicks it away into the end zone. It's going to be brought out right up the far seam. Finally brought down by the Jackrabbits special team. On the return, TD Ayoduro-Jaye. So under 7 minutes left to play in this third frame. The Jackrabbits have a little bit of a cushion now to breathe. The Wildcats need a touchdown to keep this one close. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie it if that does come into play. The Wildcats are on offense. 3 receivers left side, 1 receiver to the right, short side. Now we'll hand it off to Barley. Tried to make a cut, moved up about 2 yards. Going to set up a 2nd down and 8 on their own 24-yard line.
You can definitely feel the momentum just heading in the Jackrabbits' direction, especially with this home crowd here. Been very influential throughout this game. And Villanova still struggling on offense.
Again, a new playoff record, 10,216 fans at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium in Brookings today. Now Watkins is just going to keep it going up the far seam. Gets hit at the 30-yard line and brought down just there. A 3rd down and 4 upcoming.
A big 3rd down here for the Jackrabbits defense. A big stop here. Get the ball back in the hands of the offense once again.
2 receivers to either side. Watkins going back into the shotgun position. He has Jalen Jackson to his left. Lifts his leg and takes the chest-high snap. Stepping back, he'll run with it. Actually, he'll throw off to the near side. It's going to be open to Jackson, running down past the 45 and ushered out of bounds by the Jackrabbit defense at the 47. Good awareness for him to keep his eyes open down the field, and Jackson was exactly where he should have been, I presume, how the play was drawn up. Stepping up now, 2 receivers either side. Watkins will hand it off to Jackson now at the 50, gets hit by the Jackrabbit linebacking core. They give him a couple inches past the 50-yard line, a 2nd down and 6 on the technical 49.
Yeah, Villanova's starting to pick it up now in their run game and sprinkling in a couple passes. Really effective in marching down the field right now.
Three receivers working their way out in a bunch formation on the near side numbers. 1 receiver to the right, just outside the far hash marks. Now he'll hand off to Barley, gets hit right at the line of scrimmage and driven backwards. They will give him the forward progress up to the Jackrabbit 48, so they're in plus territory now. But 3rd down.
Effective stop there by the Jackrabbits defense. A whole bunch of defenders there able to get the stop on that tackle. And it's really going to be effective throughout this game if we can continue to gang tackle like that. we've seen that Connor Watkins, the quarterback, has been effective in breaking a couple of tackles from the Jackrabbit defense. So let's continue to see the gang tackles throughout this game.
So a 3rd down and 5, same formation, just flipped. He'll dump it off in the middle, down to Barley. He gets a 1st down and a lot more, rumbling his way down to the 30-yard line on the near side. A 1st down and deep into Jackrabbit territory there. Good play design coming from the Wildcats and OC Chris Bowden, who, by the way, is a Wildcat standout. He's the program's all-time career passing leader, and now he's leading this offense. No wonder they're so explosive. They have a great offensive mind there. 3:18 on the clock, 17-9, still the score here. Villanova marching down the field. He'll hand it off to Barley, coming around the 30-yard line down to the 26. They'll actually mark him at the 27. Sets up a 2nd down and 4. The 6-yard gain there. So we tick under 3 left to play in this quarter.
Yeah, for us Jackrabbit fans, it starts to get a little scary now. Villanova effectively pushing past the Jackrabbits defense and marching down the field quite effectively right now during this drive.
2 receivers left, 1 to the right, and 2 running backs in the backfield towards the left. Now the snap given to Barley. Gets a gain of 2 on that one, a 3rd down. And 2 yards to go for another 1st down. And the bells here play. The crowd gets a little bit louder. Villanova putting together a really good drive so far. 8 plays, traveling 51 yards. This will be their 9th play of this drive. Bunch formation for the receivers on the right numbers. Taking the snap, Watkins will just go ahead and keep it. Lowers his shoulder, pushing across the 1st down marker and a couple yards more down to the 20-yard line on the far side, just outside the hash marks. A $1:40 left on the clock now, and a 1st down and 10 right at the Jackrabbit 20.
Yeah, so Villanova's going to enter the red zone now, take aim at that end zone. I don't think a field goal is in their mind right now. 1st down, and they're probably going to take a shot deep here.
2 receivers right on the line, both wide to each side. Watkins moving out. Now he'll go it on the near side. It's going to be incomplete. The ball popped out. He had it in his hands. Jaron Hayek just can't come down with it. Going to fall incomplete for a 2nd down and 10, still on the Jackrabbit 20.
Scary moment right there. Receiver able to get behind the Jackrabbit defender there. Not what you really want to look for. Fortunately enough, able to make a tackle and drops the ball out of bounds.
1:15 on the clock now. Still at the 20-yard line. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right now. Watkins standing right at the 25. He'll take the snap, play action, and he'll move. He'll try to make a man miss, but gets stopped right at the line of scrimmage and bulldozed over. Going back a couple of yards, Adam Bach, the main guy in there on the stop. They'll mark the forward progress right at the 20-yard line, so no gain on that one, no loss either. Setting up a 3rd down and 10, still on the Jackrabbit 20. 47 seconds left now.
Huge 3rd down right now. If the Jackrabbit defense are able to make a stop here, could force Villanova into making that decision whether they want to go to a field goal or not.
4 receivers out there, and they'll dump it straight off to Barley, moving up the 15 to 10 on the far side numbers. An excellent gain, excellent play design there, and most of all, excellent execution. Barley was right where Watkins and Bowden wanted him.
Really good screen pass there by Villanova. Connor Watkins got blown up in the backfield, though, with that screen pass because the linemen are going to miss their blocks. They're going to move out to block for the receiver, and that really cost Connor Watkins a big hit there.
Yeah, but he seems like he's doing all right there. He looks towards his sideline. Stoppage in play because we hit the end of the 3rd quarter. We move into the 4th, 17-9. And folks, I think we got a good one coming down the stretch. we'll step aside once again. 17-9, 15 minutes left in regulation in this one. We'll be back here in 90 seconds on 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The score, last 15 minutes coming up here in Brookings. Currently, Villanova in the middle of a 12-play, 70-yard drive. They have a first and goal coming up from the Jackrabbits 6-yard line. And Ben, the Jackrabbit defense really needs to make another stand here to be able to keep this momentum going in their favor.
Yeah, this is a big moment here for the Jackrabbits defense. If the Wildcats are able to score here, I assume they'll probably go for two. That'll tie up the game at 17 if they're able to make both those attempts. And that could really put some pressure on the Jackrabbits throughout the rest of this game.
The ball spotted, as I mentioned, at the 6 on the right side hash mark. So a short field going to the right, a wide field going to the left. On that wide field, they have two receivers. Now in motions, one of them motions closer to the offensive line. Now the snap, he'll hand it off to Barley, and the Jackrabbit defense blows it right up, and right in there is going to be Ryan Van Marl. Giving the tackle, there was also a Jackrabbit defender who, if he didn't absolutely crush him, might have tripped him up a little bit. No gain on the play. A loss of 2 on the play. Scoreboard updated.
Yeah, huge play there by Jackrabbit defense, but they're not out of the woods yet. That was first down, so we got a couple more downs to go.
Handoff to Barley coming up the right side. Back at the 6, and a gang tackle on Barley right there. Starting that one is going to be Isaiah Stallbird, the senior from Kearney, Nebraska.
Now you start to get excited on defense because it's third down. Now we have the chance to really stop them if we get them here.
3rd and goal on the 5. The Jackrabbit sideline encouraging the fans, as is the scoreboard, to make some more noise. Setting up here, Watkins with Barley to the left. A motion behind the line of scrimmage, and now Watkins stepping back, moving out towards his left due to the pressure. Throws it in the back corner of the end zone, a little bit too high. Tucker Large in on the coverage. Jaron Hayek was the intended receiver. Watkins couldn't place it close to Hayek, but I'm not sure if he could have made a play on the ball anyway with the coverage that Large was giving him.
Yeah, it looks like we got special teams coming out here for the field goal.
So Mercurio will kick it from the 18-yard line, a 28-yard attempt thereabouts. The snap and the hold are good, and it goes through the uprights for 3. 17-12 is the score. 5-point separation between it. That's important because if Villanova does score another touchdown and South Dakota State doesn't, they have the lead, and potentially by 2 or 3 points. 13:29 left on the clock. We'll step aside once again for 90 seconds. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
An absolutely incredible drive from the Villanova Wildcats, seated 8th in the country in this FCS playoffs. A 16-play, 70-yard drive, although stalling out and ending in a 23-yard field goal from Matthew Mercurio. 13 and a half minutes left in regulation. A 5-point lead for South Dakota State as it's kicked from left to right, goes over the head of Wilde into the end zone for a touchback.
Yeah, it was huge that Villanova was not able to score a touchdown there on that last drive. Really had a lot of momentum going in their favor, and the Jackrabbits defense able to make a stop and hold them to only 3. That's huge because it's going to force Villanova to shoot for that end zone for the rest of this game.
The pressure definitely shifting a little bit more onto the Jackrabbit defense, but the offense can help lighten the load here. Starting out on their own 25-yard line, 2 receivers off towards the wide side of the field. Gronowski looking towards the right side. Now he kept it, going up to the 30-yard line, fighting his way to the 35. Again, taking a hit I'm sure that Zach Lujan wouldn't be too happy with, but he'll go ahead and take that hit any day. A 2nd down and 1 upcoming on the 34-yard line. The offensive huddle breaks, a receiver to either side now. Davis a couple yards behind Gronowski, who is still in the shotgun, an extra blocker off the right side of the offensive line. Turns around, hands it off on the right side to Davis. He breaks it open, going past the 50, all the way down to the 30. Outruns all the defenders on the right seam. Touchdown, SDSU.
It didn't look like anything was going to come out of that play. I mean, I thought that Isaiah Davis was going to be brought down with a minimal gain there. Isaiah Davis able to find a gap, use his agility to break away from the Villanova defense, and brings this game in favor of Jackrabbits.
A 66-yard house call for Isaiah Davis. 12:34 left on the clock, 23-12, waiting for the two-point conversion as the offense stays out there after mobbing Zay Davis after the touchdown run. The snap, Gronowski rolling out towards his right, looking for Mike Morgan potentially. He'll get wrapped up right at the 1-yard line. So two-point conversion not successful. We'll keep it at 23-12. An 11-point lead for South Dakota State after the electric play from Isaiah Davis. 12.5 minutes left to go. We step aside once again. We'll be back in 90 seconds on 90.7. Turns around, hands it off on the right side to Davis. He breaks it open, going past the 50 all the way.
It didn't look like anything was going to come out of that play. I mean, I thought that Isaiah Davis was going to be brought down with a minimal gain there. Isaiah Davis able to find a gap, use his agility to break away from the Villanova defense, and brings this game in favor of Jackrabbits.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Back in Brookings, 23-12. An excellent 66-yard touchdown run from Isaiah Davis puts the Jackrabbits up by that margin. The kick from Dustman going to be picked up by Ayo Durojaye, and a shoestring tackle on the special teams end coming from Brody Gormley. He's made a couple of excellent special teams plays these last couple of weeks, and he'll stop the return just past the 25-yard line. They'll spot him right at the 27.
27-yard line.
So it only took 2 plays to get into the end zone.
Yeah, it was very impressive by Jackrabbits, and especially Isaiah Davis there, able to get in the end zone and make this game a little more comfortable for us up here.
4 receivers in total, 2 to either side. Now Watkins stepping back, and he'll unload it down the seam. Going to be picked off. Dallas Beanham bringing it back, gets tripped up at the 30-yard line. A turnover for the Jackrabbits, running towards the near sideline. The senior from Omaha does it again, his 3rd interception of the year.
Yeah, this is the Jackrabbits. This is the #1 overall team. It's coming out now. It was lost in the beginning of this game. We couldn't see it, but it's becoming evident that this is the #1 overall team in the FCS, and Villanova is #8.
A turnover on the first play from scrimmage there. Watkins and company thought they'd try something downfield. Dallas Beanham was right there to turn them away, and the Jackrabbits are right back on offense just a couple of plays later. Gronowski still in shotgun, 2 receivers to the near side. The ball is placed firmly between the 2 hash marks. He'll take the snap and turn it around to Isaiah Davis, running up the right seam on the 40-yard line. They'll mark him 1 yard shy of what I originally thought, around the 39. A second down and 3, a 7-yard gain for Davis. Ball spotted on the 39 right at 12 minutes left to play in regulation.
Second down and 3 from the 39.
Coming out now with the same formation, the Yankee Twins on the left side, but now they'll motion a couple of extra blockers to the right side of the offensive line. A whistle is blown. They'll go ahead and wind the clock once again, and the Jackrabbit offense will reset. Gronowski still in shotgun, working on the far hash mark. He'll throw it to the near side. Jumping and making the catch, going to be Jaden Yankee right at the 45. That moves the chains, enough for a first down. So they'll move it set up at the 45. Now the line to gain being the 45 on the opposite side of the 50.
Great catch there by Jaden Yankee. The ball was not placed in a great spot. You saw he had to fall down immediately, had room to run, but great snag, able to move the chains. Good job, Jaden Yankee.
Some motion behind the line, and now he'll just turn around and hand it to Davis, working on the right seam, pushing forward. There's no other thing to liken Isaiah Davis to other than a runaway pickle truck, really. Just running downhill as easy as if there was almost nobody there. He finally gets brought down at the 48, the Wildcat 48. A second down and 3 after the 7-yard gain once again. Now 2 receivers bunched up to the right side of the offensive line, and now he'll turn around and hand it off, this time to Amar Johnson. Enough for another first down. It moves the chains, and flag flying into the cluster where the tackle was made.
Abraham with the stop.
Let's wait to hear from Greg Wilson of this Big Sky Conference refereeing crew, assigned by the NCAA. Couldn't quite hear the number that came out of the mouth of Greg Wilson because the fans were already booing, but it's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct again on the Jackrabbits, either the second or the third this game. It has gotten a little bit chippy, some shoving after the whistle is blown between the two teams. So now that will back it up to their own 43-yard line. Still a first down and 10. 2 receivers to the left, to the right, now to the left, and a couple of flea flickers back, and he'll just throw it down in the flat to Jackson Yankee. Moving across to the opposite side of the field, Gronowski lead blocking for Yankee, and finally the play ending up 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, a 2nd and 8. Fun play design.
A little goofy.
A little goofy
because they just ran for probably 10 yards, but they only get 2 yards.
Get in your cardio.
Yeah, true.
That's what that was
just training
for.
now. But now we're just in practice.
The unsportsmanlike conduct, by the way, was called on Quentin Christensen for the Jackrabbits, the backup tight end as well as the backup right tackle. So don't know which position he was in at that point. Gronowski's just going to take the snap and run with it, going past the line of scrimmage. Someone else got tackled in the backfield. It was actually who they faked it to. Amar Johnson gets tackled in the backfield, but Gronowski gets the gain of a couple yards on that one, moves it up to a 2nd and about 6, I do believe. 3rd and 6, my bad. 3rd and 5. Give him that 3 yards. As the offense huddles around the 40-yard line on the far side hash. 8:25 on the clock, 23-12, still the score. An interception from Dallas Beanham on a throw way down the field by Connor Watkins sets us up for this offensive drive. Turns around and hands it off to Amar Johnson, running right into a pile of humanity at the line of scrimmage. They'll give him a forward progress. Maybe a gain of a couple of inches according to the chains, and the punt team will come out. A reminder, the last touchdown for the Jackrabbits happened on the last drive, the 66-yard breakout run from Isaiah Davis. So Dustman punts it. It's going to be really low. Don't know if someone got a hand on it. Will be nowhere close to the receivers, and the special teams unit kind of fanning it, even though the ball isn't moving, fanning it, hoping to get it to move a little bit more without touching it. Eventually it's touched, and it's going to be spotted down at the 27-yard line. And see, that's the greatest thing about this. They're having fun out there, too, while winning a football game and hopefully holding on for this last 7.5 minutes.
Right. And, you know, Villanova has okay field position now, but Jackrabbit defense has been playing pretty well throughout this game. So
7.5 minutes left on the clock, 23-12. We'll go ahead and step aside. We'll be back here in 60 seconds. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do.
Brown hands it off on the right side to Davis. He breaks it open, going past.
The rest of this game.
The ball spotted, as I mentioned, at the 6 on the right side hash mark. To 12, 7.5 minutes left to go in regulation in this one. Glad to have you along with us. Braden Byers, Ben Anderson, and Connor Watkins will take a snap, and he'll just hand it off. He lead blocks for his running back, goes all the way up to the 30-yard line, 2-yard gain, 2nd down and 8. Quentin Hicks gets the stop on that one as we tick down closer to 7 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, if the Jackrabbit defense can continue to be successful, stopping the running pass here, and minimize the gain, bend, don't break analogy, we'll win this game.
4 receivers set. Watkins threw it to the near side. It was intended for Jalen Sanchez, but just like a pass earlier on in the game, it hit the turf before it bounced up into the arms of Sanchez. Going to fall incomplete. A 3rd down and 6 on the Jackrabbit 31 for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Connor Watkins, definitely wouldn't call him a gunslinger. His passer rating for this game probably looking not so great.
3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Left is the wide part of the field as the ball spotted on the near side hash marks. Now Watkins stepping up right on the seam, going past the 30, now on the numbers, up on the 35, and gets gang tackled by two different Jackrabbit defenders. Going to be Zach Wilson in there of providing the assistance, although Jason Freeman was the first one to engage the ball carrier.
Excellent stop on third down there for the Jackrabbits, and Villanova brings out the punt team.
4th down and 3.5 yards, I'm going to call it. Ball on the Jackrabbit 34.5 yard line. I'm going to call it again. And a punt awaiting from the foot of Fondacaro. He takes the snap and he punts it away. Large gets it just behind the 20-yard line, coming up, cutting now on the near side, spinning around, trying to make a man miss, and he gets tackled right at the 25-yard line. And the Jackrabbits will start precisely there. 23-12 the score, 5 minutes, 54 seconds left in the fourth. We step aside once again. We'll be back 90 seconds here on 90.7.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Just under 6 minutes left to go in this one. 23-12. SDSU leads Villanova in the FCS quarterfinals today. We do want to let you know that the game between the 3-seed University of South Dakota and North Dakota State is live now. The Bison starting off 7-0 with a touchdown on their first offensive possession. The Jackrabbits here on offense now, and they'll hand it off to Davis up the 30, breaks the tackle, finally gets brought down, having to have two Wildcats jump on him to be able to bring the Stallion down to the turf. A first down for South Dakota State, and they'll mark it at the 38. There is a Wildcat down on the ground. I do wonder, because it was a big hit. Someone just kind of jumped on Davis, brought him down to the ground, and there might have been someone under it. Elijah Glover is the one that is currently down on his backside. The fifth-year player out of Pleasantville, New Jersey. He gets helped up to his feet and is walking back to the sideline under his own power, parallel across the 35-yard line. So 1st and 10 going to be set up at the Jackrabbit 38 after the 13-yard run from Isaiah Davis.
excited to see what the Jackrabbits have planned for the rest of this game. I mean, you can play comfortably, a lot of run plays, trying to wear down this clock, sitting at 5.5 minutes. But, you know, you can't be too comfortable because Villanova can still come back. There's plenty of time on the clock.
So the clock currently is running. The offense standing there, letting it run a little bit more. Sitting at 15 seconds on the play clock, 5:15 on the clock now. Gronowski will take the snap on the near side hash, hand it off to Davis, up past the 40, spun around, and tackled at the 41.
Davis, the ball carrier.
Villanova will utilize their first timeout. So the winner of this game will advance on to the FCS semifinals. For the Jackrabbits, obviously, it would be the second time in as many years. They will advance to take on the winner of number 4, Idaho, and number 5, UAlbany. That game taking place tonight at 9 o'clock on ESPN+. 5:03 is the time on the clock, not currently running. Now Gronowski will turn around, hand it off to Davis on the near seam, fighting his way past the 45 all the way up to the 49, enough for a first down just shy of midfield. Hartzell gets the stop for Villanova, and the Jackrabbits have this game. They have control of this game right now with this lead 23-12. The clock is running. Villanova does still have 2 timeouts left, but the Jackrabbits have Isaiah Davis, and they could just keep running this and eventually run the clock out as long as they keep gaining those first downs. That's the key thing. Gronowski spins it around on the numbers at the 50. Davis jukes a defender, falls forward for a couple more yards out to the 47. Gain of 4, second down and 6, and Villanova will use their second timeout of this second half.
Yeah, a lot of good runs during this drive by Isaiah Davis and throughout this game. I mean, if you can keep getting runs like that last one where you're picking up 3-4 yards, you can end this game pretty quickly here. Continue to get first downs, of course. That is the key, like you said. And, you know, this one's pretty much locked away for the Jackrabbits at this point.
Yep, Davis, as you mentioned, 23 carries, 166 yards, and a touchdown to his name, averaging about 7.2 yards per carry. In total, the Jackrabbits have 218 yards of rushing versus Villanova's 145, and we knew coming into this game that that would have to be a focus of both of these teams, not only because it's their strengths, but also due to the wind and the passing game. You have to have a strong arm to cut through that wind. Now coming out on the far side seam, going to be complete to Jaden Yonke, enough for a first down all the way down to the 33-yard line of the Wildcats as we tick under 4 minutes left to play on the game clock. First down and 10 again for the Jackrabbits, now into Wildcat territory.
Very nice catch made there by Jaden Yonke, able to get the first down again and continue to let the clock run out.
2 receivers left. Gronowski again in shotgun claps and speaks to his offensive lineman. Now takes another snap. He'll turn it around and hand it off to Davis. He's driven to the ground, but not before gaining 2 yards, so a second down and 8 coming as the Wildcats take their third and final timeout. just trying to preserve any clock they possibly can. The Jackrabbits are doing a really good job of moving the ball. However, they're in the middle of a 6-play, 44-yard drive, excuse me. And they've already taken off close to 2 minutes of time off the clock, $1:46 in total. So 2nd down and 8 coming up from the Wildcat 31. South Dakota State in their blue jerseys and white pants and white helmets, moving from right to left. Gronowski standing at the 35 will take the snap, turn around and hand it off to Davis. Going on the near side numbers, stumbling forward across the 25. Also driven out of bounds just in case him falling down wasn't enough. They'll mark it right at the 35, a 3rd down and 2 yards to go for another 1st down. And once you get that, you might need another 1st down, but the ticker moving in the win probability just keeps climbing up for SDSU the more yardage they gain on these runs.
Yeah, and the Wildcats aren't even in one-score territory here for even tying this game up. So the Jackrabbits are pretty locked in here, especially if they get this 1st down right now.
At the 25, Gronowski will turn and hand it off to Davis. Gets stood up at the 21. Definitely enough for a 1st down, a couple yards past it, in fact. Another 1st down, a 1st down and 10 on the 21, as I mentioned. 2:10 left on the clock here, and the Jackrabbits will squeeze as much time out as they can. No more timeouts from Villanova. And the Jacks look like they will prevail and move on to the FCS semifinals, which are happening next weekend. We're hearing Friday at 6 o'clock and Saturday at 3:30. Nothing has been confirmed yet. Gronowski hands off to Davis once again, up the sideline, up to the 10. He stumbles forward, almost fell down to the ground, kept himself up. He gets brought down at the 6-yard line. And that's where they'll mark him, a 1st down and goal on the Wildcat 6. $1:36 left on the clock in this one.
That was unbelievable. I mean, I guess the Jackrabbits could go shoot for the end zone now if they really wanted to rub it in. They're pretty close, 7 yards to go, especially with that nice run there by Isaiah Davis. Picks up another 1st down.
So now the Jackrabbits will enter into that favorite formation of head coaches everywhere. Jimmy Rogers, the Eddie Robinson winner for this year as FCS Coach of the Year, definitely likes this one. We tick under 1 minute left to go after the first kneel down from Gronowski. 23-12. Villanova gave it a hard-fought battle. The Jackrabbits just pulled away, just outlasted the Wildcats. They're standing with the ball at the 8. And another kneel down from Mark as the two teams go on to the field and shake hands, as the Jackrabbits will be heading back to the FCS semifinals. Not only that, they will host the game next weekend. The Jacks have now won 27 games in a row. Of course, we know their last loss to the Iowa Hawkeyes at the beginning of last season. The clock officially ticks to 0. This one is over. 23-12 is the final score. They head on to the semifinals to take on the Idaho Vandals or the UAlbany Great Danes. That game to be decided later on tonight, but both those teams know they're going to have to come to Brookings on a Friday or Saturday next week. The team heads over to the south end zone to celebrate with what's left of the student section and the Pride of the Dakotas, as well as what's left of this playoff record crowd of 10,000 216 at peak volume. Again, final score 23-12. We'll step aside for 4 minutes this time. When we come back, we'll take a look at the stats, hear how the touchdowns happen for the Jackrabbits, and then we'll get you set up for next weekend. Once again, take a 4-minute break. Be back right here. You're listening to Jackrabbit Football on 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour. If you could find a way.
To get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Hi, this is Becca 80, Senior Public Relations Major. Thanks for listening to the SDSU student radio station, KSDJ 90.7.
Play action across the middle, gonna be Jackson Yonke finding his way into the touchdown.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm
been good to
grilling
SDSU
up
so
dinner.
far this year. Let's see if they can capitalize on
good
this
job.
one.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out.
Across
Put
the
them in
middle,
a
gonna
metal
be Jackson
container
Yonke
because
finding
those
his
embers
way
can
into
start
the
a wildfire.
touchdown.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, ha, ha,
Excellent play
Learn more
by
at
Jackson
SmokeyBear.com.
Yonke.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest
He's been
Service, your state
targeted
forester,
a
and the
ton
Ad
throughout
Council.
this game. Finally, there. Able to
Brad's
haul
buzz.
one of his targets in.
Yeah, he's starting with the
whoops.
whoops.
Reception of this game. That's going to put
And now
6
a
points on the
speech.
board.
I
for
just
the
want to
Jackrabbits.
say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too. Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Well, back here at Brookings, 23-12, the final score. South Dakota State up over Villanova they win in this FCS quarterfinal matchup and will advance to host the semifinal game next week against either the Idaho Vandals or the U Albany Great Danes. Welcome into our post-game show. Braden
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
As we wait for Braden to come back to give us some post-game highlights, just wanted to share a couple of things going on in Brookings today and this evening in case you're going to be hanging around. We've got Garden Glow going on at McCrory Gardens. If you've never been, that's a pretty great experience.
Play action across the middle, going to be Jackson Yonke finding his way into the touchdown.
But if you forget, they'll also have a horse-drawn trolley there, $5. The bands there today will be Peace Skunk. They'll also have a featured, which is yours truly, and it looks like Braden's ready to go. So we will cut back to him.
Thanks, Catherine. Welcome back here to Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium in Brookings. A 23-12 win in the quarterfinal round. Hold on. I forgot to unmute it again. But music's still going. Thanks, Catherine. Well, welcome back to Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium. A 23-12 win for South Dakota State in the FCS quarterfinals. They advance on to the semifinals to take on either the Idaho Vandals or the U Albany Great Danes. Well, this one was a little bit of a weird one. The weather definitely played a little bit of a factor, even though it's not necessarily what people think about when it comes to weather. But as every Midwestern person will tell you, it's the wind that always gets you, and that's definitely the truth here today. So there wasn't much offense happening in the first half. In fact, the only first half points that we had for South Dakota State was the only first quarter points that South Dakota State had was a 42-yard field goal from Hunter Dustman to kick things off. Then Villanova's Jalen Jackson ran in a 25-yard touchdown to give them the 6-3 advantage. But then sometime in the second quarter, precisely at around 4 minutes and 23 seconds, after a Quentin Hicks sack forced Villanova to have to punt it away, this happened. Play out. Fondacaro, it's going to be blocked. The punt running back on the far numbers, down to the 10-5, touchdown. Jackrabbits on the special teams block.
Unbelievable. It happens on special teams. The whole game special teams. We're always on special teams. Huge recovery by the Jackrabbits special teams, number 23. He's going to get a touchdown for the Jackrabbits, the first of the game. Jackrabbits are finally going to lead Villanova.
So a 45-yard blocked punt return from Matthew Durant gave the Jackrabbits the edge 9-6. The PAT made it 10-6. The only other scoring that would happen in the first half as well after that would be a 46-yard field goal from Matthew Mercurio of Villanova. So that left us at 10-9 at halftime, a 1-point difference, and the one big score for South Dakota State came on special teams defense. So they needed to get something going in the second half, and they came out firing, and in one of their first possessions of the second half, this happened. Play action across the middle, going to be Jackson Yonke finding his way into the touchdown.
Excellent play by Jackson Yonke. He's been targeted a ton throughout this game. Finally, they're able to haul one of his targets in. I believe that's his first reception of this game, and it's going to put 6 points on the board for the Jackrabbits.
So a 20-yard touchdown pass from Mark Gradowski to Jackson Yonke. PAT by Hunter Dustman was good, capping off a 9-play, 62-yard drive. That put the Jackrabbits up 17-9. Then we headed into the fourth quarter. Villanova tacked on a field goal to bring it back within 5 points, a 23-yarder from Mercurio, but South Dakota State pretty much salted it away in the fourth with this. Turns around, hands it off on the right side to Davis. He breaks it open, going past the 50, all the way down to the 30. Outruns all the defenders on the right seam. Touchdown, SDSU.
It didn't look like anything was going to come out of that play. I mean, I thought that Isaiah Davis was going to be brought down with a minimal gain there. Isaiah Davis able to find a gap, use his agility to break away from the Villanova defense, and brings this game in favor of Jackrabbits.
So after that, an interception from Dallas Beanham got the Jackrabbits back the ball, and they salted it away from their final score being 23-12. So that's how things sounded as they happened. Let's now send it over to Ben to take a look at some of the full game stats that happened throughout the day.
Yeah, right. So rushing yards really picked it up there in SDSU in the second half. The total game rush yards are going to be 242 for SDSU in the first half. They're pretty limited in that regard, sticking around only 48 rushing yards. So really picked it up in the second half. And then Villanova's going to sit around 145 for rushing yards. First half, they're going to be at 105. So they actually slowed down a little bit in the second half when it came to the rushing game. But that's because they're playing from behind. They're trying more passes out. But passing game-wise, Villanova really couldn't get anything worked out. They were 6 for 18 and 1 interception on passing. And the Jackrabbits were 11 for 19. A little better passing percentage in the second half for SDSU. Now, as you look over total yards for this game, SDSU sitting at 343 over 60 plays, and Villanova is sitting at 219 over 53 plays. As you look at time of possession, Villanova held the ball for 28 minutes, 33 seconds. SDSU a little more than that, about 3 minutes more. They held the ball for 31 minutes and 27 seconds. Both teams pretty rough when you look at third down conversions. Villanova only was 6 for 15 on third down attempts, and SDSU was only 4 for 12 on third down attempts, completing 1 fourth down conversion. When you look at rushing for the Jackrabbits, Isaiah Davis is always going to be the number one player on the list. He had 200 yards rushing this game and an average 7.1 yards per carry. Mark Granowski is the number 2 guy back there. He's the quarterback for the Jackrabbits. He had 41 yards rushing this game, and he averaged 4.9 yards per rush. Now look at rushing for Villanova. Jalen Jackson had 67 yards, and he was averaging 7.4 yards per carry. Connor Watkins, the quarterback for Villanova, had 56 yards, and he averaged 3.8 yards per carry. When you look at receiving core for the Jackrabbits, Jaden Yonke was targeted 7 times, and he was able to haul in 5 of those for 21 yards and a long of 14 yards. Isaiah Davis was targeted twice, and he caught both of those passes for 24 yards and a long of 22. Jackson Yonke was targeted 6 times, only able to catch 2 of those for 22 yards in total. Zach Hines caught that one and unfortunately fumbled that, but that was for 26 yards. We look at special teams. You got to look at Matthew Durrance. He was the one who got that punt return for a touchdown, 55-yard return for a touchdown. Tucker Large also on a punt return for only 6 yards that game. Look at the defense side. Quentin Hicks, skillful, the only player on defense with a sack this game for the Jackrabbits. That was late in the second half. Looking at Villanova receiving core, Pringle was targeted 8 times, and he only caught 2 of those attempts for 29 yards, a long of 25, only averaged about 5 yards after the catch. DeWill Barley was targeted twice, caught both of those, and he was able to pick up 28 yards with an average of 30 yards after the catch. When you look at scoring throughout that game, we just went over it. You could listen to that. But throughout this game in the fourth quarter, Villanova was not able to put any points on the board. The Jackrabbits Villanova first getting a field goal late in the third, and then SDSU with that Isaiah Davis 66-yard rushing touchdown, which basically put the nail in the coffin here for Villanova. Braden?
Yep, 23-12, the final score. Time to take a look around the rest of the FCS and the world of college football as a whole. Only one other game in the FCS going on right now as we speak. North Dakota State versus South Dakota down in Vermillion on ABC. The Bison jumping out to a huge 21-3 lead, and we're just starting the second quarter there. They started off with a touchdown run from Cam Miller from 9 yards out. Then Cole Payton had a 43-yard touchdown rush and a punt return brought back by Jalen Price for 82-yard touchdown punt return. So two offensive drives result in a touchdown, then a special teams play giving them 7 as well. South Dakota getting 1 field goal in their first drive on offense. So that one is going on right now. Again, 21-3, just starting the second quarter. In the FBS ranks, Army-Navy game taking place today. They're 1 minute into the first quarter. That happening on CBS, the only FBS game happening today. Of course, last night, Montana versus Furman, 35-28. Going into overtime, tied 28-28. Keelan White got a 13-yard touchdown pass from Clifton McDowell. The kick, the point after, was good. Furman couldn't answer in overtime, 35-28. The Grizz advance to the semifinals. So we know where the 2 semifinals are going to be. One is going to be in Missoula, Montana, and one is going to be in Brookings, South Dakota. We don't know who South Dakota State is playing. We don't know who Montana is playing. And we don't know what time they will be. One other thing we do know, what network they're going to be on. They're both going to be on ESPN2. We are hearing, nothing confirmed yet, that it might be a 6 o'clock game on ESPN2 on Friday night and a 3:30 o'clock game on Saturday on ESPN2 as well. No indication whatsoever if that is actually true, but that's what we're hearing, and no indication which one that would be. So Montana will take on the winner of the North Dakota State-South Dakota game that is happening right now. Again, that will be in Montana. And then South Dakota State will host either UAlbany or Idaho. That game happening tonight at 9 p.m. on ESPN+. So the winner of that game will come to here, and potentially an intriguing storyline. There are, a couple of intriguing storylines here. It could be back-to-back CAA opponents. Albany in the same conference as Villanova actually finished the season in a 3-way tie, but because of scoring differential, Villanova got the 8th seed, and Albany actually beat Villanova earlier on in the year. So that's something to look for in that. But if Idaho makes it here, former offensive line coach and former offensive coordinator Jason Eck for South Dakota State, now the head coach of the Vandals in Idaho. So interesting all the way around. We'll figure out what times everything is and what day everything is probably tomorrow morning. But we will know the matchups by the end of tonight, depending on that result from UAlbany and Idaho. But here, final score 23-12. The Jackrabbits do advance to that semifinal round, and I think that's going to do it for us here from Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium in Brookings. I want to thank you all for listening and everybody who makes this thing possible, starting at the top with our faculty advisors, Brian Stemwedel and Jim Helen, station manager and engineer back in the studio, Catherine Jones. Thanks for all your help for this. For Ben Anderson, I'm Braden Byers saying so long. Have a great rest of your evening. Make sure to watch that game at 9. It's going to determine a lot for next week. And have a great rest of your evening, everybody. And as always, go Jacks.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get in.